The best way to describe my training style is just intuitive. It's an intuitive approach to getting stronger. Whether that's good, bad, or ugly, I'll leave that up to you to decide. Obviously, there's a lot of benefits. There's a lot of negatives associated with any training style. For me, this suits me best on multiple fronts. Mostly because I'm a nurse. I work shift work, lots of nights, lots of days, all that kind of stuff. A lot of irregularity, if you want to say, in my life. I've tried the traditional periodization, block periodization. I've tried undulating periodization. I've tried all sorts of periodization. Just never really kind of, I don't know. Like, I didn't know what I know now, but back then I thought, well, it is what it is. But then when I started breaking away from the norm, and when I started kind of backing myself in my thoughts, I experienced a big spike on the graph in terms of enjoyment, in terms of willpower to come in and do this stuff. There's nothing like control, being responsible for your training. I've spoken about this many times before, but it's a celebration of freedom. I don't think I have this type of freedom in any other aspect of my life, where I can just rock up and do whatever I want, and there's no repercussions. No one's gonna fire me. I'm still gonna be all right at the end of the session. Today, though, having all of that said, today I was even surprised by myself. What I felt in the morning, comparing that feeling, those thoughts, and comparing the end result of today's session, it's a massive difference. Again, it's something like four days. So Wednesday was the last pool session that I had, proper pool session. Today's Sunday, so full 3 days of recovery. Still, I'm not 100%. Still, I feel soreness. I knew I wanted to come into the gym today. The focus of the session was I want to do some deadlifting, no volume at all. I just want to work up to like 4 plates and just call it quits, just to introduce some sort of freaking frequency, right? Like, being sore and being that sore like I have been since the last rack pull deadlift session, you need to introduce frequency, slowly introduce frequency into these lifts. Otherwise, you're always going to be really, really sore. So breaking up that volume that I did on Wednesday, maybe into 2 sessions, and instead of doing the 1 session, I'll do 2 sessions per week, smaller bite-sized pieces, less demand or recovery, less volume, less intensity, all that sort of stuff is just more processable than just massive chunks of training in 1 day, crammed into 1 day. So I came in, I'm going to start with deadlifts. I'll work up to whatever feels comfortable, wherever the safety level is today, and I'll go from there. Well, I worked up to 4 plates, and it didn't feel great, but I thought I had another plate in me. Worked up to 220, and I thought, well, that moved all right, and I started kind of feeling better and better. Then I went to 240, and I thought, well, man, that moved really well. So at that point, I was really, really warmed up. I was feeling good. Before the deadlifts, I did some leg raises, lying leg raises, like in the grass area, the green area of the gym. Warmed up, tried to loosen up my back, get some blood going. Then I hit that 240, and I thought, man, screw it, let's just try 260. All of these lifts up until the 260 were feeling okay. Still kind of not, feeling strong. The overarching feeling was I feel weak. But the way 240 moved, I thought, okay, let's give 260 a feel. I pulled 260. I got to around mid shins or something like that, and I felt that fatigue in the lower erectors. I felt them kind of like start to give out, almost like a sharp kind of like pulling feeling. I'm not injured, nothing like that, but I just let it go. The moment I started feeling there was immense fatigue and I just wasn't able to maintain that back tightness, I just dropped it, and that's my policy. Soon as I let go of my lower back, soon as there's any sort of rounding, I just let go. That's my comfort level. That's my sort of buffer for comfort when it comes to this, movement in the back. So I felt it, dropped it, and then I kind of looked at the video, and I kind of sat there for about 5 minutes thinking about what the next step is. Originally, I wanted to do some front squats, and then I went, okay, let's at least try work up to 1 set of working set of the rack pulls. Now, the rack pulls, I believe, got me into trouble in the first place, on Wednesday. It was very, very taxing, 4 days ago. I ended up doing 3 sets of 10. Exactly the same session that I did on Wednesday, I did it today. Instead of hitting that 270 attempt, I hit the 260 attempt today. So, I know I'm intuitively based and I go by feel and I assess basically not every day, but I assess every moment and how I'm going. But today even surprised me. It really surprised me what I was able to do today. So after I did all of that, I did some front squatting, and front squatting felt, I haven't done any proper squatting, I haven't pushed any, numbers on the squat because my core has been so fried. So today I managed to hit 170 on the front squat. That felt all right. And then I ended up finishing the session with some hypers. Not some hypers, some GHD back raises or hypers, whatever you want to call them. Not the 45 hyper, but the 90-degree hyper. This came into my head. I basically got reminded by one of you guys who said, what happened to the 45 hypers? Why aren't you doing that to introduce the blood and whatever? And I thought, why aren't I doing that? So anyway, that was a great reminder by one of you fellas to just do more hypers. Like, whether you're sore or not, you can always do a little bit. The first and the second day, I probably couldn't have done anything. I was that sore. But definitely, I think if I did some hypers on the back end of that session on Wednesday, I think I would have been a lot better and I would have recovered a lot sooner. This is something that I've noticed by doing hypers. Just, I was calling it back then like bathing. I'm bathing the muscle full of blood, and that does something to the recovery. And, instead of finishing the session with a heavy ass set, you finish it off with some hypers, and it's almost like you're just flushing the whole system out. You're getting rid of all those things that would, cause the soreness. I didn't do that Wednesday. Today I did it, so I'm really intrigued to see how I'm going to recover from today. I've got work tomorrow, the next day, so I'm really, really hoping that I'm not going to be as sore as I was on the Thursday after that Wednesday. So let's see how it goes. Obviously, if I wake up tomorrow feeling really fresh and the next day, the knee-jerk reaction is to go, oh yeah, it's the hypers. But really, it could also be the fact that I've done the same exact workout 2 times in a week instead of 1. So maybe my body has already had the shock the first time around. Now I'm kind of warmed up to it and I can just get on with it. But no doubt, even if that is the case, I think finishing whatever muscle group that you're doing, finishing it with like a set of 20, a set of 30, really light, just going through it, basically like a cool down, right? It's a cool down. We used to do cool downs in basketball. You do cool downs in soccer, football, whatever you want to call it. It's a good way to end the day. You don't just go for a full 100-meter sprint and then just sit down in the chair and you don't move until the next session. Doing that it's not gonna lead to good recovery. You need blood, basically, because that's the circulation is what brings us the nutrients and what takes the waste away. So you need to have circulation. This is where my fundamental belief comes from, with the active recovery business. Definitely, you have to move. Bed rest is really bad. Like I've mentioned this in the past. If you have a total hip replacement in the hospital now, depending on what time of the day is, the worst case scenario is tomorrow morning we're getting you up to get out of bed. We'll load you up with pills so there's no pain. We'll mask the pain. We just need you on your feet and moving around. Why is that? Many reasons. It reduces the chances of clots in your legs and your lungs. It improves recovery because that circulation, you can't mimic that circulation. You can't. How do you get blood going around? You need movement. And so then all of a sudden, when you start to realize that people with freaking total hip replacements are getting out of bed and moving the following day as in active recovery, mate, I don't care how hard your freaking leg day was, you didn't freaking replace a hip, okay? You're not experiencing that much freaking pain. You didn't do that much damage. So this is where like my beliefs have come from. It's partly clinical, partly experience in the gym. You take all these experiences, you roll it up into one, and then you have an individual, right? You have different experiences to me and whatever. But I don't think we should just isolate our experience with life in the gym, just in the gym. You have prior experiences, sports, work, whatever. Like, how to, if you've been living for 30, 40 years, 50 years, 20 years, whatever it is, you have some freaking experience to lean back on and work out what's what. I think movement is great. And I probably made a mistake not moving enough in the last few days. I've been kind of focusing on those wide stand squats, doing all of that. But I really, if the problem was lower back, I should have just flushed it with something, man. You know, if I didn't go to the gym, I could have done some super light freaking good mornings with bands or something. I don't have bands, but even just body weight, taking a 5 kilo dumbbell, putting it in the back of my head, something like that, just to get the blood going. I think that would have been beneficial for me. That's what I think anyway. So I'm gonna pay close attention to how I feel tomorrow. I mean, I feel good, pretty good right now. I mean, last time, on Wednesday, by the time kind of like 7-8 o'clock hit in the afternoon, like it is now, I was getting tired and I was like, man, I'm gonna be sore as hell tomorrow. I don't have that feeling. But that was the session, basically. It surprised the hell out of me. The intuitive approach is always, I don't know. I look forward, like, even like 1,000 freaking days in. I know it's hard to sell this, but I still look forward to training. Whether you believe that or not, whether you think I'm doing this for YouTube, whether you think I'm doing this for whatever reason you might, think that I'm doing this for, I'm being as honest as I can. Like, I am literally looking forward to that tomorrow session at 5 o'clock in the morning. I am. I really am. And I think the biggest reason because of that, the biggest reason for that is because I am fully auto-regulated. I am fully intuitive about my training. I'm fully going by feel. There's no expectations. If I wake up tomorrow feeling like shit, I'm going to just have a small session. There's no, oh shit, tomorrow I got to hit 20 rep squats, 20 breathing squats. And it's like already the anxiety starts to build up because you don't know where you're going to wake up, and then there's stress for the sleep. I really need to have sleep well. I really need to, eat everything that I can tonight, blah, blah. All these expectations, there's cortisol level just simmering up and up and up and up and up. And all of a sudden, like, because of these thoughts, tomorrow becomes really, really difficult and really stressful. I don't give a shit how I'm going to feel tomorrow. Whatever the body gives me, whatever God gives me, whatever the universe gives me tomorrow morning, I will assess the chessboard and I will go accordingly. That's it. It is so freaking free. Like, if you've never trained like that, man, like, I almost feel sorry for you in a way. I almost feel sorry because it's such a liberating, free thing, man. I just wake up and I'm like, all right, no worries, nothing hurts. Yep, feeling great, feeling bad, feeling whatever. Let's get after whatever I reckon I can. And the best thing is, even during the freaking warm-up like I did today, things can change. Oh, shit, man, I feel pretty good right now. Let's put another plate on. Oh, man, that moved pretty well again. Let's put another plate on. Oh, man, I almost got 260. I'm kind of tired on the top end, but I reckon I get some volume in with 180. Okay, I'll do 180 for a whole bunch of sets. And that was the session, man. That was the session. Whereas if I was to gauge my day today while I was sitting on the couch this morning, I would have been like, oh, no, day off, man. Like, I'm not ready. Day off. I can't. My body's telling me everything. It's freaking, it's a fog, man. It's a fog. And a lot of life is just a freaking fog. And you can't see what's behind the fog until you start walking through the damn thing. And then you get halfway through the fog and you're like, oh shit, it's all right. It's not exactly what it was seeming back there. It's actually looking pretty all right. That's what I feel like. And, I've brought up stories of, when I have an office day at work where I have to sit down and do auditing, go through paperwork and whatever and look for things that we want to improve or whatever the task is for that day. Basically 8 hours on the chair. Right, 8 hours on the chair. I've done jack shit physically. Other than walking to the tea room and to the toilet for my breaks and whatever, I've just been sitting all day. After those days, man, I'm driving home and I'm freaking exhausted. And I used to think to myself, I've done nothing. What am I exhausted from, man? And then I'll think about my grandparents digging freaking all day in the field, man. All day. Like animals working. And they would come home and do the home life shit. They got other crap to do. Feed the animals and whatever else. I've just sat on my ass. I'm a freaking 30-year-old man. And I'm feeling tired from what? And that's when I started to think to myself, man, this is just a freaking fog. This is bullshit. My mind is lying to me. My body's lying to me, man. These hormones are lying. And that's when I started to kind of think to myself, man, there's some funny shit going on here, man. My body ain't telling me the truth. Something is going on here. And that's when I started doubting. This is where some ideas from like John Bros and, even up at Jay, of all these guys, I thought, man, maybe we shouldn't rely on our emotions all the time. Oh, I don't feel good. It's really cold today. I'm going to stay inside. I feel like slapping myself, man. What are we talking about? You're full of shit. You know, sometimes you got to look at the mirror and be like, you're full of shit. I don't care if you're sad. I don't care if you're tired. We got to get after it. And the moment you start freaking turning those wheels, all of a sudden, like, what the hell was I complaining about before? It's all good. That's why I always kind of say, and I've adopted this idea completely now, is that no matter what I feel, I don't care. Get in the session and get moving. And once you've warmed up, then make the call. If you're feeling shit before, and then you do a warm-up and you're still feeling shit, you must be feeling shit. You've walked through the fog. But there's no way in hell you're going to know how you're going to feel before you even warm up. So once you've warmed up, once you've kind of washed away all that freaking fog and all that rubbish out of your mind, then you can see, what you're working with. You can see the chessboard and where the pieces are. But until you've done that, you don't know what you're doing. This is where these beliefs are coming from, like the squat every day. This is the fuel behind it. This is the vision behind it. Because you don't know. You just don't know. You got to get in and warm up and do whatever. And today is a brilliant example of that, of me not knowing, everyone has expectations, right? Like, you're always kind of talking to yourself, but I surprised myself today. I made sure I rocked up and I had an idea I wanted to do deadlifts. And then as I was doing them, I got it better and better and better and better and better. And I ended up almost pulling 260, man. And I ended up hitting 260 in the rack pulls, right? So just freaking warm up, man. Every single day, get out, warm up. Even if the warm up is if you warm up and you're like, I feel really, really bad, just call it quits there. But you've warmed up. The warm up is not going to cost you anything, man. Anyway, interesting day today, to say the least. Really happy how it all turned out. Appreciate all you guys on Patreon, Instagram, YouTube comments, Discord. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.